Well, hey there, guys. Greetings and salutations, and welcome to our Daredevil Born Again after show. Oh, I gotta mute that. Daredevil Born Again after show. Good to have you guys here. I am, of course, John. I'm joined by Anne
Hey, everyone.
and Ray.
Hey.
And we just finished watching the first two episodes of Daredevil Born Again. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give our thoughts on the two episodes that we just had, and then we're just going to basically use our time taking your questions and observations and theories that you might have. Now, remember, we don't use the tip link on special shows. We only use the tip link on the John Campea Show. For this after show, you can use the super chat feature, and the super chats are open right now. I'll let you know when I'm about to turn them off. But those are going to be coming out for in just a bit. So, several comments in the chat say, "Wake up, Ray."
I'm sorry. I just got done watching that show.
All right, so Ray, let's start with you. What did you think about the first two episodes?
I don't know if it was just because my day had been long or whatever, but there was a lot of it. I found myself a little bored. There's part of the stories that I didn't care for. A lot of the things were interesting though, like I love the little confrontation that Kingpin and Murdoch had, or conversation they had at that time.
Right.
That whole scene was. I didn't even watch all of Daredevil, the Netflix Daredevil. I only watched season 1, couple episodes of season 2 just to see the Punisher, and then I completely dropped off. And even that part was still good to me. Like from their words and just the way they looked at each other, or Kingpin looked at Daredevil, Matt Murdock. It was just the tension in there, the passive aggressiveness I thought was really great. That was probably my favorite part out of both episodes. And that's my favorite part, even not even the fighting. That whole scene right there was the best part, I think, from both episodes. Like the opening was really good. I wasn't surprised what happened. It kind of felt like, I think we reported those two joining in later on after the show. So I had a feeling like we were speculating that they might not last that long. And we said
on the show, right? We said, like, we all had a feeling that Foggy was going to die. Like, we talked about that on the show today. I didn't think he was going to die 10 minutes into the show.
I thought that's what because from the trailer, when they're walking out of that bar, you see that short part. I had a feeling something was going to happen right there. Like either there was going to be a drive-by or something, some senseless murder was going to happen to one of them. Or I thought both of them weren't going to make it, to be honest. I thought she was going to get shot.
I still think Karen might die at some point.
I thought she was going to get shot. Or the bullet would have went through Foggy and her. Like a double shot because of the guy who shot the bullet.
Yeah.
He's the target man. I mean,
Bullseye.
Yeah, I mean,
also known as Target Man.
He's the target man. I mean, I thought it was going to go through her, or he was going to give her a worse shot, maybe a headshot. So all of that, other than there's a lot of stuff that I didn't care for. I don't care about Vanessa and Wilson Fisk. That was probably the most boring. I don't care about their problems in their marriage. It just didn't interest me at all. Like no matter what, she seems fine. He seems fine. They're trying to make him pass off like he's still in love with her, but I can't sense that at all. Like it just feels like he's fine without her too. You know what I mean? It's. I wish they'd done without it. Everything else, it did the courtroom better than She-Hulk. just from the one episode, it probably did all the better stuff. There was more. There was a lot of. This looks like it's going to be a good show, but for those who actually like more of the drama, I feel. I don't think we're going to get as much action, maybe tidbits and bits of it, like the 5 minutes we got at the end. We'll get like that a little bit.
Well, that's not what the showrunner's been saying. The showrunner's been saying for the last couple of weeks, we've talked about on the show, is he's been going on, he's saying there's way more action in this season than in the other seasons,
it's gonna be,
which made me worry that we weren't going to get enough drama. Like my worry going into it is that we weren't going to get enough of the character work and the drama and stuff like that. So I don't know. Anne, what did you think about the first two episodes?
Well, you flipped it over to the person who eats up drama. I absolutely loved these two episodes.
I guess you got to grab some. Go ahead.
I think from, the first, 6 minutes of having that continuous shot, and then having all the action kind of come in, and then the surprise, or I guess maybe you guys weren't surprised by Foggy dying immediately. But I think that whole sequence was incredible. And it was such a great way to start the show,
Yep.
especially when you hadn't seen Daredevil. I think you said it's been 5 or 6 years.
6.5 years. Yeah.
I just can't believe it. And so you come back, refresh with the characters you were used to, and then all of a sudden they take that away from you. So you're like, WTF. And that's all in the first few minutes. I think episode 1 was a great kind of cue to the drama, but also the like political intrigue that's going to happen. You don't know what Fisk is doing. I mean, you kind of get a glimpse of it as the story unfolds in episode 2. I appreciate the new characters that are with him in the office. I know they're not technically new, but their working relationship feels new. What else? I love the introduction of his kind of love interest. I don't know how long that's
the
going to
therapist.
last.
Yeah, I got a feeling she dies too. I know. My default is always thinking everybody's going to die.
I like that dynamic, especially what they introduced at the end of episode 2 of them going to therapy and her being the therapist. I was like, I was expecting to see the kid that approached her during the book signing, and I was like, what is this like teenager up to? But then it happened to be Fisk and his wife. I actually like the Vanessa and Fisk story.
I don't like it.
It's like a healthy uncomfortable to watch that dynamic. And she presents the one thing, in my opinion, that Fisk will always have a weakness for. And so I think it's important for them to kind of cue that up as well.
Let me ask something. Is that something that watching all of the Daredevil season, is that something you think I would have been more
well, yeah. I mean, if you haven't seen the original Daredevil series, you don't understand the depth that there is between Kingpin and Vanessa. Like, he's obsessed with Vanessa. It's the only thing he actually cares about.
Yeah.
Other than his own power. Because I'm with Ann. I loved the Kingpin and Vanessa stuff. Like, understanding especially where they came from and all that stuff. I thought that was gripping. And then, like, especially when they're on the rooftop and goes, I know about Adam.
Yes. I'm like, who's Adam?
And she doesn't even say anything. She just says, don't kill him.
Her side piece.
That's when I stopped caring. I think after he said that, if there was any care for that relationship, I just said, okay, it's over.
But then they had the therapy thing, right? At the end, she just, look, he just up and disappeared. Yeah. I sat by his bed for months, and then he just disappeared. He didn't communicate with me. I was lonely, and blah, blah. So they kind of explained it. I don't think they justified it, but they explained it. You know what I mean?
I do like the Hector story going on, though. That's the one I'm
White Tiger? Yeah.
Oh, is that White Tiger, Hector?
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. I just thought he was.
How did you have no idea? They literally
found
the White Tiger costume in his room.
But I'm just saying, even if he wasn't a White Tiger, I would love, just like Daredevil, cracking down like the injustice in the government that Kingpin is, or maybe not Kingpin is doing.
Well, it's those cops.
Just those cops. Yeah. I just love whenever there's a vigilante or some guy that just like Batman. He said, "Someone, I'm like you, someone who rattles the cages." I like when people do that. When like people don't stand or just stand there, just take whatever is going on, like all the injustice. Like they actually.
You know what the one weird thing about the Hector stuff was, though?
What?
Like, one of the things that really jumped out to me about the show so far was that it's so grounded. This does not feel like a world where a Norse god with a magical hammer flies around the skies.
Not at all.
It feels more like a Law and Order
sort
of thing. And I love that. But then out of nowhere, well, Your Honor, he didn't have his magical amulet.
Yeah, I
so
know.
It's like
it
felt like for a lot of the show, it felt so gritty and grounded and real. Even fine when Fisk, I almost called him Whisk, when Fisk starts saying like, there's no place for somebody like a White Tiger or dressing up as a spider. It's like, okay, even that was okay. But then it's like, just so matter of fact, well, Your Honor, he didn't have his magical amulet, so therefore he didn't have his power. So that did feel kind of weird and jarring a bit.
I noticed those things too. But let's go back to the beginning. Just having those two actors there, just getting them just for that 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Karen and Foggy.
Probably 10 minutes.
that connection right there that they made with all the people who did watch did follow it, that's all they needed. They don't need them on the show anymore. Those two series are now connected forever forever from this point on. Like now we see the connection there, and I thought that was great that they did that. It's just surprising that, like we said, they were added later on. What was their I just questioned what was their opening. What before?
Well, remember, yeah, because when they originally shot the show,
Yeah.
neither Karen nor Foggy were
Right.
in the show. I mean, they shot 90% of the show and then went back to the drawing board and scrapped it all. So, but I mean, I can't. First of all, I don't think I actually gave my overall thought. My overall thought is that this show's awesome so far to me. This is better than what I was expecting. It's everything I kind of hoped. Like, because I remember when the showrunner said, we're going to have way more action than that Netflix series did. I'm like, the action was great, but the action isn't what made Daredevil great on Netflix. It is the characters and that drama. And then you have the action and the violence kind of feeds into it, but that's where it starts. So I was kind of worried we weren't going to get that kind of drama. But they give it right away. Like they literally start with, Matt losing his best friend for years, being shot, and then, breaking his rule. You kill Foggy, just threw him off the roof. And, I remember thinking at first, how did he survive that? And then I remember at the end of the series, he got like some kind of vibranium or metal spine put into him.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So then I guess it kind of made sense that they did that.
Did they always do the hearing thing in the Netflix throughout the whole Netflix?
He's
thing?
Daredevil.
Yeah. But
thing.
because I thought, okay. So I really do need to go back and or it's too late now.
The sound is incredible. If it's not going to get mentioned any other time in this after show,
the sound
it's
in the
just
show so good,
beautiful, and we have surround sound, so you can just hear the pulsating, the kind of
the bone
the
cracking,
of the sound.
The way they have it set up here, I actually heard voices and I thought they were behind me, like in your backyard.
Yeah,
like you could hear someone just talk, and it's not even that person's not even a part of the scene, but. I'm like, wait, did you guys? I was about to interrupt so many times ago. Did someone just say that? But it had nothing to do.
Very intentional.
But just so everybody, so we've got a Sonos surround system in our living room.
Great.
So it doesn't work with not all content that is broadcast to take advantage of it, but this was, and
is the perfect
boy, does that ever sound good.
Is this Marvel so far? Is this Marvel's most? I don't know the word to describe it. I want to say like HBO Max.
Gritty.
Is like
so. Yeah, this feels more like a prestige show.
Yeah, away from.
You know what it is? It feels less like Loki and more like Penguin.
Yes.
Like if this is more like a Hulu show, a FX show. More in that sort of vein.
I think it's more like an HBO show.
Yeah.
But I actually put those two together. HBO, because so far for Marvel, we've had like the really cartoony, sometimes childish, sort of shows where it's like just really kooky. This one seems like grounded, a lot more grounded,
way more grounded,
and I love that about it. I just hope I stick on to this one. I don't know why I fell off from the Netflix one. I don't know. Hopefully, this one I would actually stick to. I can't wait for the next episode. I know it sounds like I didn't like it. I think I was just sleepy at the end, but I can't wait for the next episode. I'm disappointed we got no Punisher.
Well, they kind of warned us that we weren't gonna this isn't the Daredevil and Punisher show. I remember one of our viewers wrote in and they thought Punisher was gonna be everything, and I said on the show, this isn't gonna be the Daredevil and Punisher show. Punisher is going to probably be in a few episodes, but it's not his show. I mean, it's Daredevil. We're going to have different characters coming in and out. Really, more than if it's Daredevil and anybody, it's Daredevil and Kingpin. This is their show. I mean, you could make an argument that they paid more attention to Wilson Fisk in the first two episodes than they did that, and I have no complaints about
I
that.
totally said that. I'm like, if they flipped the script and had this from the perspective of Fisk and him being mayor and Fisk can fix it, yeah, I would eat it up too. I think that would be a really interesting perspective to see it from that way.
And only some people who have read the comic will understand that we probably got our first kind of glimpse of Muse I think like it could have just been a random street artist doing that painting of Kingpin, but I think maybe we got our first little glimpse of Muse, who's ultimately going to be probably the big bad of the season. Another scene I loved, like I think Wilson was honestly thought he was telling the truth when he said, "I'm a new man. I'm going to actually run the city as a mayor." I think he honestly believed it. But then once that police commissioner started pushing his buttons,
Oh, he went back.
oh, look
But
at
so did Daredevil. They
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
both had that just juxtaposition where Daredevil started getting his ass beat, or Matt Murdock, and then he had to flip the switch too. Like he had to go back in there.
it goes back to what Fisk said in the diner when he said, hating our violent nature, the control the violent nature has over us. And it came back out. It's like, oh, look, the kid.
And
Oh,
honestly, that's the relationship dynamic that people are going to watch this show for.
Oh,
It's
100%.
actually not the I understand that you don't care for the Vanessa and Fisk story. That's fine, but I actually think that's the relationship that people are more curious.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think as different as they are, they're really the same.
Yes.
Like they're both they're struggling with the same thing, and both of them are going to get to the point where they go back. I cannot wait.
It's going to be that limbo the whole season.
yeah.
Probably.
You know, I what I would love to see, and I don't know that we're going to get this, but I would love to see it. Like, because they're going to take liberties. They're not going to follow the comic book story directly, so they're going to take liberties. What I would really love to see is Kingpin and Daredevil have to team up to fight, maybe whether it's Muse or whether it's Muse and Poindexter or
is
something
Muse
like that.
What is Muse? Like, is it a boy?
So it's from it's from a specific story. Muse considers himself an artist.
Is it a teenager?
No.
Oh.
But Muse
I'm trying
does
to put it
art
together.
mutilating people.
I thought maybe
That's
the
his
kid
art.
that goes to the therapist is the same person that's tagging this.
I mean, that might be Muse in the show. It might be. I mean, he wasn't a teenager in the comic, but I mean, they could do it that way in the show. But it's also somebody who's like very capable.
So that's who I had in my head, Muse. When you said White Tiger, I thought that was Muse. That's why I was so confused.
No, yeah.
White Tiger. So White Tiger's a hero, not a vigilante though, but more on the good side. Is it
White Tiger?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's why I was so confused about that. It makes sense because you said White Tiger, and all I saw was Muse mask. And now when you said Muse, I was like, oh, okay, just mix the two up.
Right.
Sorry about it. So this show, I believe it's just gonna be throughout the whole thing, just Matt just watching Fisk the whole time, making sure he doesn't get out.
No, this is just the introduction. This is going to be, I think, 9 episodes.
You don't think that's going to be the third line through the whole series?
No, I think that's going to be something maybe for the next 1 episode or so. But at some point, you're going to cross out of Act 1 into Act 2. And it's not just going to be 9 episodes of Matt kind of watching Wilson from a distance, right? We're going to move through the story. And by the way, I just had to get to this too.
Yeah.
While there was not as much action in the first 2 episodes as I kind of thought there would be, I think there's going to be a ton in the series. That opening fight between Bullseye or Target Man,
Target Man,
and that last fight
With the
between
cops.
Matt and the
That
cops.
was great.
When he did, there were 4 or 5, because if there's a really good action scene, if there's a great action scene, at least once in it, I'll go, fuck! Like, right? Just that one fight in the apartment between Matt and the 2 dirty cops, I think I yelled, ah! Like 4 times. Like whether it was not just the elbow breaking, but then you see the blood start to soak through the thing, the last shot when he like literally drops the guy on his head. I'm like, oh my God, this is every bit as visceral as the Netflix series was.
I can appreciate like a lot of action, like a John Wick sort of style, like throughout the whole thing, but a well-placed action sequence, the good timing of it, the story-wise, those were planted in great places because at the end of the second, it's like it was building up to it. I was like, man, these cops, dude, the guy, when they were in the courtroom and they were like, there's that guy who killed my partner. Just the way, just the actor they picked, his face, I wanted to slap it through the TV. He just seemed like such an asshole. And so when he got his at the end of episode 2, it was like I don't care if his bones were coming out of his arm. That they deserved it. I mean, I love if you're not going to give me a lot of action, at least make it make sense.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
and they did both. They
It
gave
was
us,
great on both
the
sides.
action was great. It made sense. And what?
And there's a point where I don't know if you're joking or not, but I like Fisk right now.
No, I agree.
Oh, yeah.
I want,
But like seriously,
I feel
without
the same
lying,
thing.
when they announced Fisk won as mayor, Ray cheered. Like Ray
did I.
Yeah.
clapped and cheered. Yeah,
and, you know, it's
Fisk
just,
can fix it.
yeah. I mean, sometimes you need a strong person in the thing. And plus, he said he's changed. Like, I'm gonna give him a chance. So far, he's done nothing wrong. He fixed the hole. He fixed the hole.
He also threatened a dude's family.
I don't care about he fixed the hole. That's one family.
Fix the hole.
More likely, you're gonna be in traffic with those other people. So you want that hole
What
fixed.
did the kids say to him? Great hole fixing or great hole filling?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like that's a double entendre.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So I really like Fish right now. I hope
a good
I
character.
like both of them throughout the whole series. Like I don't want to, because both of them I could see both sides from both from both of them.
Yeah, one's a psychotic murderer and one's
Yeah,
the
man,
hero who tells kids.
he's
I
a
can
mayor.
see they're both
He's a mayor now. He's doing good for the city.
He's
Come on.
blackmailing cops, threatening their families.
So what? He's lost weight. He looks good.
Ozempic helped, and
He looks
Who
good.
cares?
He
That-
had to threaten
He
them.
lost weight.
He lost that psychic weight, that psycho weight off of him. So no, I actually like that he's in power. It gives them more.
He lost weight.
I like
he looks
that.
Good.
I like the positioning of both of their status in this
Yeah,
city.
yeah.
I like where they are right now because it could create some great drama and great conflict between the two.
All right. Well, what we are truly here to do is to take some questions from the audience, get their thoughts and everything. So let's go over and start doing that right now. We're going to start off with Christopher Brickner, who likes, I like how a lot of reviewers were allowed to watch all 9 episodes. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
And their reviews were for the whole season.
Damn.
And then he also writes, since most Daredevil Born Again reviews are for the whole season, does that give you more confidence in the show? I did not know that they show, like, I've only heard the first reactions, and the first reactions that came out last week were just on the first 2 episodes. I did not know the full reviews that came out, which I purposely did not look up. I didn't know those were people. So listen, if the reviews are good and it's coming from people who've actually seen the whole series, that is absolutely good news.
And can you stop saying F Disney now? Maybe we could have seen all the series too.
Fuck Disney, man. Fuck Disney. All right, let's keep going here. Next up, we've got Aiden Foley says, been a while since we've seen Daredevil. Guess you can say our memories have been foggy.
Hey,
Hey.
rest in peace.
Man, but
He got a haircut and everything.
They all look
Yeah,
great.
I
They
know.
all look.
he also
wide-
lost weight.
They all.
Yeah.
He lost
They
weight.
had a glow up. Every single character of the 3 of them. They all look good.
He lost weight. He got the haircut.
Yeah.
He's looking good. Like, I feel bad for the actor, just like after 6.5 years.
He gets a
We're
call.
going back to
He
Daredevil.
gets a
Yeah,
call.
man. Awesome. Let's do this. All right, you're done. What?
We've been shooting for 3 months. You only need me to come in how many days?
For a half an hour?
I wonder why. That's crazy.
For one day? All right. I guess we're going to shoot a lot in a day.
I think he, like I was saying, I was telling them that actor's probably on Fiverr right now, and Marvel probably just hired him.
Fiverr. I just need some gig work. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Moda Awesome, who writes, I am in denial and shock of what happened in the beginning of episode 1. My heart, it hurts. It hurt me more than Vic and Penguin. You know what?
Oh,
Chris gets mad when I bring up on the show that, you know what they should do? Kill a character. But the reason I say that is not because I'm trying to take away Chris's joy, but it's because if you want us to feel the pain of the hero, I'm sorry, Matt losing his law practice, that sucks, but it's not. If you want to give me something that makes me believe that Matt Murdock straight up walked away from being Daredevil, it had to be something that extreme.
and you know what they did? They did 2 things. That it was Foggy physically. They killed him off, but the girl, what's her name? Karen. They kind of killed her in a way. Well, she's still alive. I mean, the pain of that
Yeah,
scene where she was like pushing him away. Like even I didn't have to go to 3 seasons of the Netflix Daredevil to know how close they were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it effectively took her out of the show too.
that hurt me.
But I
that
think
that
she'll be
hurt me
back.
more. That hurt me more. That one scene where they're on the bench, and because you could tell Charlie Cox was like, "What would you do in that situation?" Where like she probably thinks that Foggy's the reason why, or Matt is the reason why Foggy's dead, right? Because of all that violence that he's brought.
I don't think he's why. She's not blaming him.
Oh,
I never
okay.
got the feeling that for 1 second that she blamed Matt for
No,
it. But
I
it's
didn't
just
get
that the
that
pain
either.
was too much. Like that's why he said to her, I can't believe that a tragedy has to destroy everything.
Yeah.
And she goes, well, it did. I mean, listen, and that's true in life, right? Like you often hear these stories about like a mom and dad when they lose a kid, even if they have a great marriage, they eventually just break up.
Right. You
like,
just can't see that
pain-
person
Yeah,
because it reminds.
you always just feel the pain, right? So I can sort of see that. All right. Let's see. Next up, we got Cupcake Bliss writes, there were scenes in the show that were badly edited. Does Daredevil feel like the Netflix series? Sure. Is it as good as The Penguin? No. First of all, I thought the editing was great. Personally, I thought the editing
I didn't
was
find
wonderful.
anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying
but
to think of.
It's hold your horses. Now, listen, you're talking to somebody who absolutely loves Penguin, loves it. It is way too early to
Yeah.
start comparing Daredevil to Penguin 2 episodes in.
And this
So I'm not saying Daredevil will end up being better than Penguin. What I am saying is it's way too early to call.
and I think this is like Disney's real first shot at doing something like this. Like really, like I mean, HBO Max, they've been doing that.
They know how to
for
do
years.
it. Yeah, it's second hand to them. They know how to do it. It's their native language.
Yeah, so I wouldn't even compare them, at least not yet or ever. I just think they're just way too different studios that are doing 2 different things. But they're trying.
Yeah.
They're trying to put some Netflix in there. You could tell.
All right. Next up, we've got Daddy Logan who writes, I can't get over that they glazed over how I was thinking this exact same thing. How they glazed over how Fisk was released from prison after season 3 and the public's opinion of him being changed to be elected mayor. I do want to remind everybody that we currently have a convicted criminal.
I wasn't gonna go there. Let's not turn it. Let's not. Let's.
No, is it really so hard to
Let's
believe
not. Let's. Yeah.
that New Yorkers elected Fisk? We literally live in the timeline where a convicted criminal is president. But that being said, I also found myself thinking about, so are we not going to talk about how is he even out of jail at all in the first place?
But can that give us an idea of how desperate the people of New York are without the vigilantes on the street? They're saying, "Oh, there's murders, there's rapes going on. No one's there to save us." That they're so desperate that they hired the thing they hate the most because he promised change.
I think they just passed off the people of New York as being stupid.
Oh no! I just thought
when Matt
they were
Murdock-
scared and desperate that they just succumbed to that fear.
I think they get won over by the tough guy image. And I think like when Matt Murdock was talking to, who was he talking to? The therapist girl. Or no, it wasn't therapist, it was Cherry. When he said, well, they elect him, they're getting what they deserve. And that's kind of his thing. But it's also a commentary, I think, on people, like human beings. We are very much sucked into cult of personality. Always have been. I mean, you can go back centuries into our human experience, and people have been suckered in by cult of personality. And that's a rare, very, very real human thing. That's not just a thing today. It's been a thing for hundreds of years. And I think that's what the show's playing into a little bit, I think. Anyway. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Darian writes, colorful and provocative murals have been popping up all around the city. Oh, fuck, they're doing it. Yeah, it's Muse. It's Muse. They're not even being subtle about it. I thought we would get more of an introduction into him in the first 2 episodes, but I guess they just want us to soak in getting caught up with, it has been 6.5 years of getting caught up with Kingpin and Matt again. All right. Patrick writes, my favorite part of Daredevil Born Again was when Kingpin said, give me sugar and water, more Vanessa. I don't remember that.
Wait, in this episode?
Oh, got a joke. But if we don't remember, we can't comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Sorry. Next up, Mary Beth writes, "You can hurt Fisk after all. He is so unsure about Vanessa loving him. Give me more complex characters. Shoot it up my veins." Yeah, I mean,
No.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Like that's one of the one of the coolest things about Kingpin, like right from the original series, was the whole idea that this Kingpin of crime, this merciless murderer, once he met Vanessa, that was it. Like, she's his Achilles heel. She is his weakness. She's the one. Nobody in the world has power over Wilson Fisk except Vanessa.
That's right.
and knows.
That's right.
I think it's just because I was so drawn into the Matt and Fisk or thing that I just didn't want to see him go home and do like joint bank account things with his wife and deal with that. I just wanted that fight already. I think it's just
Bank account.
I get it though. I get it. It could become interesting to me. It's just my first impression of it. So.
They set up a lot of very interesting dynamics between all the relationships that exist in this show. There's a lot of mistrust. And then as a viewer, you're wondering, who am I siding with? Who do I believe? I still have a lot of questions around people's, integrity and their morals around what they're trying to do.
There's a lot of dysfunction.
All right. By the way, guys, just so you know, I'm going to turn off the super chats in just a couple of minutes. So if you still have a message you want to send in, get it sent in really quickly because I'm going to be turning off the super chats. Okay. Let's see. Next up, we've got Dark Weekend, who writes, "I'm super excited to see when and how Dex/Bullseye will break out of jail, as we know his story is far from over." I mean, look, you leave him alive. Well, I guess you could have leave him alive just to make the point of Matt deciding, I've decided I'm just going to let the system deal with it. Because if you just killed him there, right, you don't have a story point there to convey to the audience about part of his motivation of moving on. And that whole speech he gave about, I've decided to leave it to the system, everything. It's not Daredevil's problem anymore. Now it's the system's. But in any comic book show, when you leave somebody alive, it normally means you plan on bringing them back. So,
Or they become mayor or whatever.
or they become mayor.
So was that him just saying, "Hey, I'm trusting that you'll take care of this since you're the mayor now"?
No.
No, wasn't referring to the system as in Fisk.
Well, no, because when he said that, Fisk hadn't he didn't even know Fisk was running for mayor yet at that point. So, all right. Next up, we go to Sam Fisher, who writes, "I knew Foggy or Karen were going to die. Matt did so much in the Netflix series that for the 'a line was crossed' line to make sense, either Foggy and or Karen had to have died. He killed somebody or both." I mean, listen, I absolutely believed that he killed somebody. Now, I don't know if it was a result of Karen or Foggy getting murdered and thus he killed somebody. When he said a line was crossed, like, he's not quitting being Daredevil because somebody else crossed a line. He's only quitting Daredevil if he crossed a line. And so that did kind of make sense to me in that aspect of it at any rate. So, yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Jacob H. who writes, "Without getting too political, the parallel between Fisk and the big orange guy is strong in this one, and I love it. It's true. I'm not going to get into it, but yes, you're right.
It was hard to ignore.
A lot, yeah. It is very, very difficult to ignore.
Yeah.
But we're not going there.
I mean, I would go so far as to say it's hard not to believe deliberate parallels.
We'll just say, there's
yeah.
a couple of things that came out, and like the first thing in my head, I just smiled. I just smirked a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'll never say anything. It's just like, interesting.
All right.
We had the subtitles on. Did you notice the hums that they were doing to each other in the diner?
No, I didn't.
You didn't realize when Matt would say something, Fisk would go, and then when Fisk would come back with something, Matt would go, What everyone, if you have the chance, watch that whole scene again, but have the subtitles on. Count how many hums they did to each other, because I just kept seeing it. It was like their way of saying, "Good one, good one. You know what I mean? Like if you're having a little verbal duel with someone.
All right. Next up, we've got Patrick, who writes, Vanessa's mantress, Adam, do you think he'll have any significance? Oh, yes. Oh, Adam's not going to survive this show.
So is Adam someone who works for her?
I couldn't remember.
Because
I
there's
think
a
so.
line-
If he was
think
one of the
so.
guys
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if he was one of the guys at that initial meeting or not. I
I
have to go
think
back
so,
and watch that.
because
Yeah.
there is an obvious line about something about business and
Yeah.
catch it
She's like
Yeah.
when she was talking to the therapist, she said a line. I don't remember exactly, but something. Both were overly fulfilled.
Yes,
Both were overly
yes,
fulfilled or
yes,
something. And then
thank
I was like,
you.
oh,
See?
small pin, small pin.
Small
He's got
pin,
small pin.
small pin.
Maybe Adam
Anyway,
does jujitsu.
I'm not done. I haven't finished reading the question.
I'm sorry.
Do you
Sorry.
think he'll have any significance? Maybe a fun little cameo like Robert from Mayor of Kingstown or Mother Krill from Acolyte? No, nothing like that. Both featured in the premiere. Listen, again, they didn't bring up, just like how when Wilson says to her after she asks him, don't kill him, he says, I'm not that man anymore. In the same way that I think he thought he was honestly just going to try to be a straight above the board,
Yeah.
clean mayor.
That's gone.
At some point, Adam is not going to have a good day.
Mhm.
Whoever Adam is, he is not going to have a good day at all.
Yeah.
Adam just doesn't want him to have a bad day. Because Adam doesn't need to be there. If Fisk has a bad day, it'll be a bad day for Adam anytime he wants to snap his fingers and do something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's at some point they're going to set that up, and I don't know if that's going to be something that makes Vanessa reject him or make her go, oh, like you're still the man. Like I don't know what they're going to do
Man.
with that relationship at all. Okay, let's get back over to it.
And then he starts putting on weight again after he gets out.
Well, what's that? Okay, so Stan Fisher writes, okay, so do you think Fisk chose Heather because she's connected to Matt, or it's just an awful coincidence?
That's what I was thinking.
I
too.
think it's a coincidence.
I think it's a coincidence as well.
Yeah. Now, maybe we'll find out. If so, it's a hell. You don't seem convinced.
I'm thinking if
I mean,
there was any
It could go both
sign.
ways.
If it is a coincidence, it's a hell of a coincidence because New York's a big city. Now, granted, they did pass her off as being a big authority. She has a book signing. She's all that
Oh
kind of stuff.
yeah,
So-
yeah, of course. You go
so-
with the famous people if you need a therapist.
Yeah,
It's a
so maybe it is completely. Yeah, I'm going to go with coincidence.
coincidence, which would make it better, I think. If it was
Yeah.
coincidence.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think she's getting out of the show either. 'Cause
Oh, she's so pretty too.
she's pretty, but he's got to get back either with She-Hulk or he's got to get back together with Elektra, who's probably going to show up.
I'm
at some time.
really
But
contemplating
he doesn't
this.
need
Or he's
be
got to
back with
get
anyone.
back together with
He could
Karen,
just be single,
or
Matt.
yeah,
Or Kingpin.
or he's got to get together. with
No.
Kingpin.
Or Kingpin actually gets with the therapist because she falls in love with him during these therapy sessions.
Oh,
You
my
never
God.
did watch. You never.
Going.
I'm just kidding.
You never watched. What was the big mob show? Why am I?
Sopranos?
Sopranos. You never watched Sopranos, did you?
No.
Because that's totally the premise of Sopranos, where like the mob boss Tony gets into a thing with his
Oh,
therapist.
See, I never.
I
watched
never
it.
So
watched
they're gonna
it.
do like
Oh,
a whole
God.
Sopranos thing.
Oh, okay.
Total whole Sopranos
And
thing.
people got killed over that then. I
Well,
suppose.
I'm not gonna just in case you want to
Yeah,
watch it
okay.
someday.
Well,
All right. Next up, Sam Fisher writes, okay, so we're all thinking the dude who asked if Heather was taking new clients is Muse, right? I'll be honest
I
with
just
you.
said that.
I didn't think at first.
I said that earlier
Yeah.
in the show.
I didn't think that at first, to be honest with you. I'm reading some comments in the chat, and he's definitely, that kid isn't just some rando.
No, he said
He's
I need
definitely
help.
somebody significant.
Yeah.
He just seems a little too young to be Muse to me, but it could be what they're doing. It could totally be. I mean, for all I know, that's the actor who's listed as Muse in IMDb, but I don't really know for sure.
Mm.
Okay. Let's see. Next up, we've got Johnny Got Lost writes, do you think the reason for Karen moving to San Francisco and Foggy's fates behind the scene is because they reused a lot of footage from before the reshoot when Karen and Foggy weren't originally in the show? No, that had nothing to do with it. I think, honestly, I think they understood what they wanted the basic skeleton of the story to be. and it didn't involve Foggy and Karen. And even though they scrapped what they had shot, my guess, and it is just a guess, but my guess is they still maintained what the basic skeleton of the story was. And they knew when they decided to scrap what they had shot and start again, they also changed the fact that originally this Daredevil series was not connected to the Netflix series.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think once they made the decision to tie it to the Netflix series, they essentially had to have Karen and Foggy there. But the story that they wanted didn't really involve them too much. So they had to find a way to incorporate them into it. I don't think just the desire to recycle footage that they showed drove their creative decision. I think the creative decision is what drove what happened.
Do you think the Daredevil we saw in the She-Hulk series was any indication of what the series was before?
Yes. Yep. I think, I absolutely think that. I think Kingpin in Echo and Daredevil in She-Hulk is the representation of what the new Daredevil series was going to be.
Oh, thank God.
Wow.
And then they decided to clearly change directions, and it's probably much better for everybody that they did. All right. Next up, we've got Sam Fisher writes, if that's a Punisher skull on that cop's wrist, that's a cool detail because police groups and other organizations have started co-opting that skull in real life.
Yeah.
I remember we talked like a year ago about that.
Yeah. Punisher.
That, where we started wondering because there are people who started hijacking the Punisher symbol for their own purposes. And we had this discussion once, maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, about will that make Disney decide not to use it anymore? It seems like they decided to bring life into the art and actually make that a story point in the show. Like for all we know, these cops are associated with Frank, but I doubt it. I think they're just inspired by Frank, and at some point Frank's going to show up and kill people who are doing that, but it could be very well that this is art imitating life.
That is Marvel's coolest logo, no matter what. That Punisher logo is
it's awesome.
It's just one of their finest, or if not the finest logo they've ever created.
All right, last one comes to us from Dwayne,
the final boss.
They said, the episodes were so good, I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah.
Yes.
R.I.P. Foggy, and I bet Muse is going to be that guy from the book signing.
Yes.
You're not the only one who thinks that, who needs quote-unquote help. Nice. If you guys, like I said earlier, if you guys remember leading up to the series, my fear was that the showrunner was making it sound like this was just all Batman, bang, pow, boom. Oh, look how much action we have. And it's like, that's not what made the show. I mean, that was great stuff about the show, but it's not what made the show great. Like, it is the drama that makes it great. And that conversation between Matt and Wilson in the diner was everything I wanted it to be. Seeing Wilson struggling with his own nature, the stuff with Vanessa, the fact that they're now complicating Matt's life with the fact that he's now trying to defend a vigilante. But you know what's going to come back to bite him in the ass? He's tearing into Hector saying, I got to be able to trust you. You got to tell me this stuff. At some point, Hector's going to find out he's Daredevil. And it's like, what happened to trust? What happened? Like, you gave me shit for not telling you. So I don't know. That's probably coming too. I just thought it was great.
One of my fears before we even watched this premiere was I had a feeling that where he goes in and he's all suited up as Daredevil, he goes into that room, all those masks, that was all going to be in the last episode. And like, I was like, don't tell me this whole series is just going to be him trying to find his mojo, right? You know what I mean? Like trying to get back into the Daredevil. But
I will say, episode 2, it looks like he found his mojo.
But I mean, I fully suited up, fully committed to the vigilante role. I will say, after watching these first 2 episodes, if it goes that way, I don't mind, because of how they're tackling the issues or what he's going through. It's so interesting that I don't care if it's the last episode that we get to see that shot where he opens up the closet and all those Daredevil masks are in there, like different colors. I keep going back to the part where they're talking in the diner, and the shot in the face part. I just, it keeps replaying in my head because it's like when you meet up with
I had a protege.
Yeah,
It didn't work out. Did she shoot you in the face?
No. It's almost like when you meet up with an old friend. Oh, I heard you had kids. Instead of I heard you had kids, it's, oh, didn't you get shot in the face? And Kingpin's like, yeah, new generation.
But that's literally what happened in Echo. It's like, I didn't have any children. I tried to.
So funny.
What did you say? Mentor?
Yeah,
I mentored.
I
Yeah, I
tried to
tried to
mentor.
mentor somebody.
Didn't she shoot you in the
face?
So good.
Yeah, I love that. I love
That was such
yeah.
a good line.
Yeah,
that
I
was
just love
such
that.
a good line. I loved that line. It was so good. Anyway, final thoughts on our. Sorry that I cut the super chat short, guys, but moving forward, the after show will be the day after. I just thought for the first 2 episodes, we would actually do it here on the night. So moving forward, episode, like when we do our after show for episode 3, it won't be on Tuesday night, it'll be on Wednesday night, and it won't be so late in the evening, and we'll have more time for super chats, but we had to keep it cut a little bit short tonight, obviously.
I know you check this often. Did you check how many minutes each episode was tonight?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the first one was 50 something, and the second one was 40 something.
Yeah.
And we got 8 or 9 episodes.
9
in this.
episodes. And what's funny is, we talked about this before, the next couple of weeks is single episodes, but then in a few weeks, we're getting another night where we're getting 2 episodes dropped. So I think our episodes 5 and 6, or either 4 and 5 or 5 and 6. Yeah, 5 and 6 are going to be dropped back to back.
I wonder if they're 2-parter.
Yeah, the
Maybe.
thing with the Marvel series with me right now is you could get away with 1, but as long as you can have me interested in watching the next episode, I'll be on that ride. You can get away with 1. Every season has that 1. If you buy the disc of any season that you love, there's going to be that 1 episode you forward through if you had that disc or whatever, that digital copy. I'll let you get away with 1, but I have to want to watch the next episode for me to stay with this.
Oh, you know what?
Huh.
I was very wrong. I'm sorry, I didn't check this. There were more super chats that came in before I turned them off.
Okay.
So
Let's get
there's like, oh gosh, a bunch more. So sorry guys. Let's get through them. Let's get through them. Who do we lead off with? I think we left off with Dwayne. So then we'll pick up with Wookie Kegs, who writes, I wonder who Fisk was talking about when he said, or man who dresses in a spider outfit. Loved both episodes, and what an opening for 10 minutes. Well,
Miles
here's
Morales.
the thing, though. No, it definitely wasn't Miles.
Miles, yeah.
Here's the thing, though. You couldn't get away without at least once mentioning Spider-Man, because he's a New York guy. And you can't do this whole thing about vigilantes and a new mayor trying to cut down on vigilantes in New York without at least a mention of Spider-Man. And here's the brilliant thing about it. Now that they've dropped that 1 line, they never have to address it again.
Mm-hmm.
They literally never have to address it again.
Did you guys find those little parts where they are interviewing the people on the street a little cheesy at times?
The BB report.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just
I know it's trying to set the atmosphere, the
tone of
environment.
the city, yeah.
But I keep thinking about Matt Reeves' Gotham and then Penguin's Gotham and all that stuff, and it's kind of like there could be different ways to do that where you can just feel it. You feel it without them having to explicitly.
Here's the thing, though. If you want to make it feel real, that's how it's done today.
Yeah,
right?
I saw that.
I kind of get that.
Yeah.
So, all right, next up. We got Corey Kelly, who writes, I like the first episode a lot more than the second, but still really enjoyed being back in this world. Interested so much in the Punisher tattoo on the cops. Thanks for all you do, John. Well, thank you. And again, my guess is this is art imitating life. I think it's going to become an issue that Punisher is going to find out there are certain people co-opting his brand, his image, as if they stand for what he stands for when they don't. And that's going to become an issue for him. Again, just a guess. We'll find out. For all we know, they're working for Frank. I doubt that, but you never know. All right, next up, Christopher Brickner writes, what do you think about the Bullseye surviving the fall? I like it because the point was Daredevil legitimately attempted to straight up murder him. Well, yeah, but here's the thing. You do that without him surviving the fall. Like, if the point is Daredevil tried to straight up murder him, then you just could have let him straight up murder him. So clearly they have more purpose for him. We've already covered this, but clearly they still have more purpose for Bullseye as they move forward. All right. Next up, Hayden Wilson writes, loved it all. When Karen looked back to the body drop, I took it as her thinking it was Matt at first and hurt me for her. I didn't even think about it until you said something.
Yeah.
You said something when it was like, oh, she thought it was Matt. It's like, oh, that's why.
Oh man.
Because at first,
imagine.
At first I thought she was like shocked and disgusted and in pain because she knew Matt threw a guy off the roof. And then you made me realize, no, she's worried because she knew Matt and Bullseye were fighting. She was worried that she had one dead friend in her hand and she was about to turn around and see her other dead friend.
Yeah.
So that was actually really well shot.
And that's why she's in San Francisco. She wants a normal life. She doesn't want this unpredictability that maybe Matt.
No, I don't believe that.
Really?
Yeah, because
there's a sense of danger, though, right? Like I don't have to watch this Netflix series.
She also kind of hooked up with Punisher.
Stuck around.
She also kind of had almost like a romantic thing with Punisher
right.
too, and she's been around there for many years. So
maybe it just became real to her.
I think Foggy dying.
Yeah. That.
Like I said, I think that goes back to like when parents lose a child, and then that destroys their relationship. Like Foggy dies, and it destroyed their relationship. Even though I don't think neither of them blame each other.
Right.
It's kind of hard. All right. Next up, we got Attack of the Mushi writes, the dialogue feels so present and authentic.
Yeah.
It all felt great. Like that's the thing. Like Ray brought up the whole HBO comparison. It feels like an HBO show. It feels like more Law and Order than it does Moon Knight. You know what I mean? And the dialogue is one of the big important reasons why it's able to accomplish that. All right. Next up, we've got Rainbow Toy.
Rainbow Toy.
Do I need to watch the original Daredevil show before I watch Born Again? Love you guys. Thanks. Having only watched the first 2 episodes, no.
I don't think so.
But because I think they did enough in the show that you can pick up on what's going on. You'll definitely, though, Ray is a good example of this, you'll definitely have a better appreciation for what's happening in the show if you did see the original series. So I would say, and listen, the shows didn't have a lot of episodes. There's only 3 seasons. There aren't a lot of episodes. You can easily get caught up between now and next week. Actually, that's going to be your homework.
I at least did the first season, dude, and some of the second season. So at least got to watch a couple episodes.
Yeah, I think you would have no problem getting through the 3 seasons between now and next week.
Or the reverse. Write the show out, and if you're really interested in knowing, then do the reverse.
All right, next up. We got Christopher Brickner who writes, I like the Echo reference. Kingpin, I tried to mentor somebody. Daredevil, didn't she shoot you in the face? Again, that's the line of the season so far. So far, that's the line of the season.
I'm pretty sure he asked for Echo's number after that.
Remember, he fought Echo.
Yeah.
Con Life writes, sorry if you spoke on this, but I love the Punisher tat on the Dirty Cop. Do you think the show will speak on his symbol misuse in reality? And you're right. We have already covered that, but yeah, again, it's my guess. My guess is, because I don't know, they are going to set this up as a little bit of art imitating life, because that clearly was something that Disney was struggling with.
And I think they should.
Yeah,
They should take that logo back through the show.
Let's see. Sir Z writes, does Bullseye's adamantium skeleton like the comics?
Maybe he's asking.
Like
that's not well written.
Like
but
well, remember in this world, when Bullseye got his surgery, the Earth did not have adamantium. So don't forget about that. When Bullseye got his surgery at the end of season 3, the world did not have adamantium. If they're going to say he has something like that, it would have to be vibranium. But then again, American medical doctors at that point shouldn't have had any vibranium either. So they're probably not going to do it that way.
By the way, I've never seen any of the Netflix episode where this actor has been, where Bullseye was in it. So this is my first time seeing this actor. This guy looks terrifying. He's a terrifying looking dude.
Well, you should watch.
I mean, is he supposed to look like a crazy psycho? Like, because when he was in the courtroom, I was like, I would put 3 handcuffs on this guy. Because he just looked heartless and whatever. But all I see is Metallo. James Gunn, if you're going to put Metallo in your universe, get this guy. He's perfect.
He's good for it. All right. Next up. We got Mr. I who writes, "Good evening, everybody. 1 a.m. here in Cleveland.
Ooh.
Daredevil is back. By the way, congratulations on graduating Dr. Ann Campea."
Yeah.
Almost there. Countdown is on.
What is it? May is the actual graduation?
May's graduation.
May, but you've already got your Lord Farquaad hat.
Well, is this after show happening around that time, or will Daredevil be done by then?
I think Daredevil. I think we'll be
He'll be
into Andor by then.
So
Yeah,
Dr. Campea during
we'll have
the
to
Andor
wear.
after show.
We'll have to have you wear your doctorate. hat.
Anfra, Dr. Anfra.
Dr. Afra.
Yeah, Anfra.
All right. Next up, CJ Rebirth says, "Didn't she shoot you in the eye?" Actually, he said, "Didn't she shoot you in the? Didn't?
Yeah,
Did
in the
she
face.
shoot you in the face?
In the face.
That was the again.
It was
the
just like
line of the year so far.
that.
All right. The Jughead writes, "Morning, John and Ray and Ann. Can't wait to get stuck into this new Daredevil series. Looking forward to the Defenders reunite." I don't hold your breath on that.
Morning,
by the way.
huh? I wonder where he's from.
Love and respect from the UK guy.
Oh, UK. There you go.
Yeah,
I don't think they're.
I don't think they're bringing the Defenders back.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I mean,
think
Mike
so.
Coulter, who played Luke Cage, kind of doesn't sound all that interested.
Oh, it doesn't have to be. Just
Yeah.
the team itself. Do you think they'll ever? I think there could be a chance if this show takes off. Maybe. I bet like way down the road, maybe even past my lifetime.
I don't think so.
No.
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's possible that they do bring Jessica Jones back in. They've kind of maybe hinted that they might bring, but I don't think they have any interest in bringing
Iron Fist.
I would love Iron
back.
Fist, but
Nobody liked that show.
But they have Chung-Chi.
And
so.
quite frankly, I love Mike Coulter as why am I freezing?
Luke Cage.
I love Mike Coulter as Luke Cage,
Yeah.
but the show wasn't very good.
Yeah, and plus he'll hump all the girls on every show.
Anyway,
Because
next.
every time I turned on that show, he was humping another actress from another superhero show. So it's like, this guy, is it Luke Cage or Luke Hump?
All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Next up, artificially stupid intelligence rights. R.I.P. Tiger's actor. It's wild in the comics he died and his daughter took over. Do you think it would be the same in the show? Art sadly represents life. What are we talking about?
Tiger? The white tiger?
Like the guy who played White Tiger, did he die in real life? Is that what it, because remember when episode 2 started?
Oh,
It said,
Oh, it is.
it said in memory, but I don't know. Is that?
That might be him.
Oh, people in the live chat are saying, I honestly did not know that.
That really. Oh.
Oh, I did not know that.
And I was about to say, I was like, this guy's pretty good.
Yeah, I liked them too.
Oh,
They said he
no.
died from cancer.
Ah, fudge.
You know what that reminds
hope
me
he
of?
did he
We
finish?
just finished watching the first episode of the new Suits series, Suits LA.
Yeah, and Amos.
And John Amos is in it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
he passed away a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
And like, so I which made me wonder about how long ago did they shoot this? It's still funny because I still think there's a movie still coming out with Ray Stevenson.
It's frightening that we are having to say these things like more often these days
Yeah.
about even young actors. Like, oh, this was their last thing that they did. It's appreciate people a little bit more. The
All right, last two ones now. We've got
last two?
Yep. Billy B 3077 writes, I really appreciate how much this felt like an actual TV show. I completely agree.
Oh,
Yeah.
Compared to the other Disney Plus shows, it's nice to have episodes that are an hour long too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, if these episodes, I mean, they weren't hour long, but if these episodes were on television, like with commercial breaks, they would have been a full hour long
Yeah.
episode or even a little bit longer. I just really hope they keep that up. I don't need every episode to be 50 minutes. But just please, none of this 31-minute episode
I thought I
nonsense.
scanned it, and they're roughly around that length of time. But I
I didn't
just
remember
scanned
seeing.
it
I only
before.
saw the runtime for the first 2 episodes. I didn't see the runtime for all the other ones, but you did.
I thought I scanned the entire runtime for the whole
This-
series, but
This show is it's different because it feels like we're gonna care about the journey. Like a lot of the Marvel shows, it's kind of like you know where we're going to, and I want to get there already. I don't care about all this middle stuff. This one, it feels like you want to intake all of the episodes.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what the Netflix series was like. It was never about what's the mystery solved, what's the conclusion of this. It's all about I want to see the next step in the journey. I want to see, okay, now that he did this, now I want to see him do this.
Yeah.
Until you do get to this climax at
Right.
the end. So here's all right. Last question. This one comes to us from Sir Z, who writes, if Daredevil is this violently good, bring on the Punisher and Blade.
Oof.
Well,
I got some bad news for you.
well, half of that is pretty good. You're pretty good, but the other half is what do they call it when they like take it off of the schedule? Oh, not there.
Not there? Yeah, Blade right now is, I don't know if we're ever going to see that.
I could imagine though. Yeah, you're right. I could imagine Mahershala.
Well, I mean, like, forget even Daredevil. I mean, all you had to do is see what they did. Everybody was worried that the new Deadpool was going to be Disneyfied. And it was the most violent of all the Deadpool movies. I mean, so clearly that should have given us some indication that Bob Iger has taken the restraints off when it comes to violence in their movies. He
Right.
said, whatever, go for it.
And I don't expect anything less if we get a Blade. Like, I want to see bones coming out of people's arms, just like this show. It has to be that way.
And all right, guys, that will do it now for all of the questions that we got through. We'll be back again next week. Thank you to everybody for joining us again next week. It'll be on Wednesday. We'll do the after show, and we won't be so late in the evening. So it'll be at a more reasonable hour. So I of course, want to thank Ray.
See you guys tomorrow.
And of course, Anne for joining me.
Thanks, everyone.
And thank you guys for joining us here tonight. That'll do it for us for now. And don't forget, join us tomorrow on the John Campea Show. We hope to see you guys there with me, Ray, Jonathan, Chris Carr, Robert Meyer Burnett. Hopefully you guys will be there too. We'll talk a little bit more about the first 2 episodes of Daredevil. We hope to see you there. That'll do it for us, guys. Talk to you later. Have a good one.